President Donald Trump now threatening to pull Todd Blanche's nomination for the nation's attorney general. In a Truth Social post today, the president said he had, quote, no objection to withdrawing Todd's name, Blanche's name, saying that he would keep him as acting attorney general until Senate Republicans John Cornyn and Tom Tillis are out of office, which will be after this fall election cycle. Comes after the two senators raised concerns about President Trump's settlement with the IRS, causing the Senate Judiciary Committee, of which they both serve on, to delay a vote which was scheduled for today. That settlement gave the president and his family's business immunity from future tax audits, and it created the now defunct anti-weaponization fund. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin has been following this one for us. Okay, a lot of moving parts here, Julie. We know Senator Cornyn had offered this counterproposal to the DOJ for a revised settlement agreement on the tax immunity issue that would potentially not grant tax immunity, or would it? What do we know about that deal, and how does the president's threat now this afternoon change all of this?
Yeah, that's exactly, Sam, what John Cornyn asked for in his counter offer to the DOJ. He also asked, as he's been asking, for written assurances that that anti-weaponization fund that was a result of this IRS settlement, that would go away forever. He didn't get that in writing yet. He was very frustrated when I caught up with him this morning. Just a couple of minutes before that new post from the president, I had asked John Cornyn about previous comments the president made just yesterday, where he suggested that Cornyn was just holding out because he was frustrated that the president didn't endorse him. Take a listen to a little bit of our back and forth. What do you make of the president saying yesterday that you're only doing this because you're upset, I'm paraphrasing, that he didn't endorse you?
I'm not the only one that has concerns about this settlement and the scope of the release. And I think that's a convenient but erroneous excuse.
Now, it is worth noting that both Cornyn and Tillis are not running for re-election. They are out, so perhaps they are falling on the spear of the sword for other senators who are not on this committee who do have those same concerns. I just talked to one Republican who also has concerns. So this road is far from over, but what Cornyn told me was that a vote before recess is not looking likely at this point.
Okay, so President Trump has basically said he's willing to wait this out. Is there any indication that once Senators Cornyn and Tillis are no longer part of the Senate Judiciary Committee, that acting Attorney General Blanche's nomination now has a clear pathway to approval next year?
Yeah, it's really unclear because it depends on who takes their seats on the committee. It depends on the kind of makeup in the Senate. Democrats could win back some seats and Republicans could have a smaller margin, if not lose the Senate entirely, which is a little bit unlikely at this point. But there are so many moving parts and variables. The one Republican that I just talked to, though, raised it to me. He was like, I just saw the president's post. Can he really keep Todd Blanche in that acting role forever? Not forever. There are parameters, but certainly, as we've seen happen in both administrations, President Trump and President Biden recently, they have kept officials in acting roles when it looked like the votes were just not there in the Senate. And certainly we know the president, and he likes to double down on things that he likes, and that includes this IRS settlement and this weaponization fund.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.